this is Arfon from Grow Automate Scale, and in this presentation, I'm going to talk about how to maximize lead generation with Facebook and Instagram ads. And I'm going to go through just the three steps that we use with our clients over and over again to help them to scale their launches, to be able to attract more leads and in turn get more sales. Now, this process is super simple, and once you can develop the right messaging, the right angles, and the right creatives to basically attract more of your qualified leads, which is what this presentation is all about, how to do this so you can actually attract your highly qualified leads. So I'm going to go through things like how to really craft that messaging, how to really develop good ad copy so you capture more of your qualified leads, how to create better ad graphics so you can capture more of your qualified leads. And really in turn is the game online is really about lead generation. If you can get the most high quality leads, you will get the most sales. Statistics says that about 2% of our audience will convert. So simple math, if you have 100 people, you'll probably see about a 2% average. The thing is, 100 is a really small sample size. This really starts to show true once you have 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 leads. That's where you start seeing these numbers and you start seeing a true 2% and you start seeing a lot more scalability in the business. But there's a process. How do you get to 10,000 leads if you've never had that before? If you've been running organically, you dabbled in Facebook ads, spent a few hundred, $1,000 here and there, but you've never actually um, generated 10,000 leads from ads before. How do you get to that point? How do you get to 5,000 leads? And I want to go through the process of how to do this. And I want to show some real examples of people who've been leveraging Facebook advertising and making it work. And I want to simplify the process so you can avoid a lot of mistakes along the way, which can in turn save you thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars in the long run and help you to generate tens of thousands of dollars in income that you can be able to reinvest in your business, that you can be able to generate more leads, and that you can be able to scale. So I won't keep you waiting any longer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we will get right into the training. So let's go ahead and share my screen. We're going to go here, training share, and let's go ahead and get this in full screen. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So again, my name is Arfon and I'm the owner of Grow Automate Scale. We are an advertising agency that helps online coaches leverage the power of Facebook ads so they can attract high quality leads and scale their offers. When you're looking to go to six figures in your business or six figures with your offers, Facebook advertising is one of the fastest ways to reach your ideal client. So what we're going to talk about is how you can do this, so how you can run Facebook ads to get more coaching clients. And this three-step process that you can do in just 17 days. We're going to simplify the launch process by leveraging ads. So instead of 12 weeks, 8 weeks, you can drop this down to as little as 17 days. And have some clients even do it shorter than that, some are a little bit longer. So, the important thing to realize is that when it comes to advertising, you want to be able to customize your strategy for your business. It's not a one size fits all. It's more of like, here's a strategy, customize it for your business and leverage this platform. I'm going to teach you how to do that today. So let's dive right in. So we're going to cover the same three steps I've used time and time again to scale our client offers by six figures. And when I say by six figures, I mean they're in their actual webinar, their masterclass, their challenge, their individual offer is doing six figures when using this process. And in turn, it's helping their business grow to multiple six figures and seven figures. I want to show a live demo. So you're going to watch over my shoulder as I run the math to show you what it will look like for you to hit your next six-figure launch. I'm going to be able to put money in. And I'm going to do this in a way to show you how you can grow it. So that way it's not just a gamble to where you're trying to do this in one shot, but to be able to build this up, because that's the best way to do it, is to approach it intelligently, approach it experimentally, and approach it in a way where it's going to be sustainable and economical for you and your business. And I want to go to my top three launch recommendations. These are launch events that you can use. And I think it's just one of those things where if you can use the right event for your business that works for you, that's where you start seeing incredible results. So I ask you to remove distractions. This is a recording. You can pause this at any time. But if you're actively watching a YouTube video or scrolling on social media or doing anything like that, you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. And I say this from experience. I've done it myself. I've tried to watch trainings and watch courses, and I'm doing some other things. I'm scrolling and then I just miss so much things that I would have gotten a lot more out of it. So it's going to be in your best interest to remove distractions and really tune in. And so for the next 25, 30 minutes or so, just tune in and get this information and apply it to your business. And my mentor has a saying that says, one good webinar can change the trajectory of a business. Russell Brunson says you're one funnel away. And these sayings can sound a little bit like, ah, whatever, but it's one of those things that's true. Like if one great webinar, imagine you do this process, you achieve one amazing webinar that attracts 1,000 leads and you generate $250,000, $300,000. What would that do for your business? What would 50,000 do for your business? What would 60? What would 10,000 do for your business if you invest a small amount into ads, you get the leads, you convert those leads? What would that actually do for your business? So start thinking about that. What would an extra influx of 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300, 400, whatever the number is, what would that do for your business over the next 3 months to 1 year and even 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Because that one training, that one funnel, that one webinar can change the trajectory of business as it has for a bunch of the clients that we work with. So you're in the right place if you are a coach, consultant, or online service-based entrepreneur. What I'm talking right now is for those who have a service or a digital product and you've typically been selling organically, or you dabble in ads, or you put a little bit in there and you're ready to 2x, 5x, or even 10x your reach in sales. This is for you. This is not for e-commerce. I'm not teaching e-commerce tactics on here. So if you're an e-commerce business, what I'm going to be teaching right now is not really going to apply to you. There's a different strategy, a different way to scale e-commerce business. So we're not here for that. Second thing is maybe you ran ads before or hired an agency, but just didn't get the results and or the service you hope for, and you know there's a better way out there. I've talked to many of coaches and consultants and my own market research from peers and different things like that. And there's just so many times where it's like they go to the agency and the experience is not what they intended. They sign up, they get onboarded, and then once they get onboarded, everything just falls way down. And what I mean falls way down is that the strategy is not really implemented correctly. When ads are up, ads are just set up and running. There's no optimizing, there's no testing, there's no scaling involved. And that's for me, it's like I'm like, oh my gosh, like the way ads work is through having an experiment mentality, knowing that we have to test. We're not throwing spaghetti against the wall. We're testing. We're testing in a very intentional way to be able to see what our ideal clients are responding to, so we can be able to know what audiences are working, what can we scale, how can we generate the most leads, most high quality leads for the lowest cost or the best cost. It's not always about the lowest cost, because I can guarantee you, if I have 100 coaches in a room, every single one of them would rather spend $50 for a lead that is high quality versus $2 a lead for a low quality. And it's true across the board. So it's about getting the highest quality lead for your business. And I want you to know that there is a better way out there. If you had a bad experience with an agency before, or a freelancer, or someone from Fiverr or Upwork that just didn't really deliver, there is a better way out there. And it starts with understanding the process, what we're going to talk about now, and working with the right people, the right team to help you to get that job done. The next thing is you're ready to run ads. You want to do it right. And I mentioned this. You want to do it correctly. You want to be able to get the results. So this means getting clients, increasing your impact, and getting a massive return on investment. Because why are we doing this? We're not just trying to line up Facebook's pocket, Zuckerberg's pocket to make a lot more money than he already does. We're doing this so we can also see the benefit in helping other people. Because I say leads, but these are people. You get 1,000 leads, it's 1,000 people who are saying that, hey, I have a problem, a pain, or a challenge, or something that I need a solution for. And they're signing up because you're giving them that solution. These are real people. And the more we can connect with these leads, the 2% is something that stands over time. So 1,000 leads, you may get 2% converting in this one webinar, but guess what? The next webinar, another 2% is going to convert, another 2%. So that 1,000 leads, you can work that for the lifetime of your business. So your email list, these leads become one of your biggest assets, and they become somewhat of a lifeblood in your business. And when you have control of this lifeblood, it changes the game tremendously. So if you're hitting any of these, you're in the right place. So in my own journey in 2018 is when my wife came and said she wanted to retire me from my job, because I was working a corporate job. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was something I found a sweet spot where it was like I was content. I was doing something that filled me up. I was actually in charge of developing all the managers in the entire district. So I got a lot of fulfillment from that. But what I realized was I was also missing out on my family. My wife saw this. She said she wants to retire me. So she started building her business coaching business, and I was on the back end. I was helping with the funnel building. I was giving support in that way. And what I realized that once I started going into ads, or we had three coaches at a time, a course, a coach, and I forget the other program. Anyways, but it was three different things. I was like, run Facebook ads, run Facebook ads. The thing is, no one really showed us how to do this successfully or clear. So we had to figure it out on our own. But what I realized that once I started applying the knowledge I had from going to college and focusing on business, and then observing what I see in the online space, we were quickly able to grow our audience 10x, started generating a lot of leads, filling up our launches. We were able to successfully launch and sell our signature course at that time. And my wife, 6 months later, she was able to retire me from my corporate career. I put my 2 weeks notice in October of 2018, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur ever since. So advertising through Facebook has consistently helped us to bring in new leads and clients. And most importantly, I think the heart of the business is we make a positive difference in the lives of our clients and community, which is one of the reasons I love working with coaches and consultants, course creators. We're putting things out there that's making a difference. It's not just something where it's fluffy or anything like that, or it's like e-commerce where we're selling a product or merchandise. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but we're making a real big difference in the lives of other people, and I love that. So when I say this works for other people, here's an example of one of our client, Laura. Started off with 5K ad spend to really test an idea. That 5K ended up turning into 68K during that launch. And we repeated the exact same process, changing nothing, just using the same thing, but obviously a few months later. And up the ad spend to 16K, generated about close to 800 leads for this training, and in turn ended up generating $287,000 in sales, which is 17.4x ROAS. This is why I say you can start off small. In her case, she already did a beta launch, already proved the process, and already had funds to invest 5K. But this can work even if you're looking just to invest 2K or 1K, or you have a launch coming up, you have an extra 100, 500, you want to just do it yourself, and you want to kind of see how this works, you can do that, of course. If you're working with a team like my company, we do require, a minimum ad spend of close to 5K to get started, because you're leveraging a team. We've done this before. We want to be able to generate the results. And like I mentioned, if you get 100 leads, the statistic doesn't really prove at that point. But when you have 500, 600, 1,000 leads, that's where you start seeing that 2% being true, that 3% conversion rate being true. So we want to be able to get enough leads to prove this concept and apply it for your business too as well. So this is an example here, one of our case studies. Another one of my client, Karen, she's a medical doctor. And one of the interesting things was that she was so busy. She wasn't able to do organic at all. She came to me, she's like, I can't do organic at all. Like if I have to do this organically, I won't be able to do it. So we started off small with a 2K ad spend, ended up in that one launch realizing a lot of different things with the webinar and the lead generation, but she ended up generating 8K in sales, got a 4x return on ad spend. But she was just like experiment mentality. As a medical doctor, she's used to doing experiments, used to understanding that you have to try things multiple times, try things differently to see what works. So we ended up starting off with 2K. Later on, ended up doubling that. She ended up growing her launch. Her 100 launch was 105K launch, as she mentioned in the testimonial here. But recently, we ended up growing to 30K ad spend, generating close to 1,400 leads, and ended up generating over 300K in sales, giving a 10x return on ad spend. This was a period over a year and a half that was continuously putting this in. What does this look like? It's not something you do every single month. She was doing this 3 times a year, where it was just based on the seasons. Because it's a 3-month program. It doesn't launch it, run the program, launch it, run the program. It's a repeated process. Exact same webinar. Like the landing pages to get updated. We make the tweaks along the way to get better and better results. It's not using the exact same thing. If things aren't working, if our conversion rates aren't as great, we're going to make adjustments and change, because we want to have the landing page conversion rate. We want to have the amount of leads. We want to basically maximize how we're spending the 30K, the 2K, the 1K, however you're doing this. And we're going to talk a lot about this in this training. So the next one I have here is Ryan. He has a membership program. He came to me, and this was brand new. This was the actual beta launch. And similarly, he has a studio. He's so busy, he wasn't able to do this organically. So he wanted to generate better results. And he came to me, he's like, hey, I want to be able to basically sell this membership. I want to start bringing people in consistently. So we use a little $3,000 aspect. We planned on using 2K. Things were going awesome. So he said, let's drop some more in there to basically get more leads. So we generated over 250 plus leads. In the end, he ended up generating 25K with his membership launch. This was for a 5-day challenge. And he ended up getting an 8x return on ad spend just to, at the same process I'm going to teach you of how to leverage ads, how to run ads correctly, the proper way to set up ads, test ads, create ads, copy from graphics, etc. We're going to go through all of it here today. So who am I? I mentioned before, my name is Arfan. I'm the owner of Grow Automate Scale, and I'm your Facebook ads guy. I'm your Facebook ads manager. I'm my company that helps this. I don't spend so much time in the Facebook ads manager setting things up. I more help with optimizing and looking at like where can we change our messaging, where can we change our audiences, what's going to help us move the needle. So I help coaches and consultants increase leads with Facebook ads so they can automate their business and increase sales. I personally believe that Facebook ads is the fastest way you can reach your ideal client in the online market right now. There's 2.9 billion users on Facebook across the world, and I guarantee you your leads are on Facebook. It's just a matter of finding the right messaging angle to convert those leads. So my wife and I, this is JoJo, she's the one who retired me. I'm so grateful for that. And back in 2018 from that corporate career, and now I moved into entrepreneurship. I'm wearing the exact same shirt, I think, from that picture. How about that? So my wife and I are both full-time online entrepreneurs, and together we've been blessed to help others package their expertise, create a strong brand, and implement a marketing strategy to help build their online business to become leaders in the online space. So when I'm not helping clients with their Facebook ads, I'm typically spending time with my wife and my 3 kids. As you can see here, it's just us on our summer vacation. The thing around our neck, we were on a little tour in by Lake Como, so it was just to hear about the history and all that's for that area. And it was a really wonderful time. And our business allows us to do that. When I worked in my corporate career, there was no way I was able to take 3 weeks off to go travel. And while I was traveling, I was still able to perform my duties as the owner of the business. I was still able to speak with my clients, speak with my team, and without even missing a beat, still able to experience and enjoy everything that traveling has to offer. And it's one of those things where I believe that everyone should be able to be in a position to do this. And working a traditional 9 to 5 is not the path to get there. There's great 9 to 5s, a lot of impact is being made that way, but it's just not the path that I believe that people who have a big purpose in their heart needs to go. And online entrepreneurs, online business owners who are looking to live in their purpose, to make the impact that they want to make. Once you figure out this online business thing, and once you can really tap into how to generate the right leads, that's where you start seeing just phenomenal results, and you start being able to live the life of your dreams, which is something that I'm really passionate about for people to achieve. So I started learning about advertising about 5 years ago. Again, I mentioned that JoJo came to me. She wanted to retire me, and I was like, okay, well, what are you doing? I support you. I said I support you, meaning I internally and mentally and supported, but physically I didn't really know what to do. So we sat down and she told me what support looked like, helping with the back end, helping me to get the landing pages up, helping me to get the email set up. This Facebook ads thing, I have no idea how to do that. Like, figure that out. Let's look and see that. So I was like, okay. So I started supporting, and I started diving into Facebook advertising once I started looking at the process. But before even doing that, I started developing the funnels, looking at how everything worked, and understanding how to get a cold person who's never interacted with us to see an ad, to give us their name, email address, phone number, to attend a live training, to then click on the button to purchase the program, to schedule a call, get on the calendar. So from that process, and then saying, okay, well, what we need to do is just speak their language. And if we can do that, simplify it like that. If you just speak their language, that's it. You're golden. And I say it's like oversimplifying saying it, but it's simple as that. Like, that's how advertising works. Amazing. You speak their language, you capture their attention, and you just take it from there. Bring them into your world and continue doing that along the way. So let's dive a little bit more into this here. So depending on your niche, there are many ways to run ads on Facebook. And this is one thing I mentioned before. Like, what I'm going to teach you right now, it's not a cookie cutter process you can just take and put into your business and boom, you make money. It's something where you have to customize it. And it can be done in 17 days. It may take you 20. It may take you 3 months if you're just getting started. You have no market research. You have no sales page. You have no landing page. You don't have a webinar. You don't have a masterclass. It's going to take you longer, of course. But the process from when you start advertising, generating leads, to you opening up cart, to you closing the doors for someone to be able to purchase your offer, that's a 17-day process. The nuts and bolts of that could take a little longer. So I want to be truthful in that it's not just 17 days from start to finish. from advertising, yes, but from whole implementation that could take longer. And that's the reality of it. Just, everyone moves at a different pace, and that could take you a day or two to create those things. It may take you 2 or 3 weeks. Everyone's a little different. So I want to make sure I'm truthful in that. And I did mention this, like we, invested in coaches, courses, and mentorship, and I still do currently. I'm always active in something where I'm part of a mastermind or I get coached because I want to continue learning about advertising, learning about online business, learning about how to not only grow my business but to help clients grow their business. So when we invested in coaches, courses, and mentorship to learn how to effectively utilize Facebook ads for list building and building awareness for launches, this started to really change the game because now we started to look and say the knowledge that we already had, we could start now to scale that and compound that and start getting the better results, right? So as I started learning about this process and doing it for ourselves, I was part of these groups of other coaches, the ones who were my peers, who we're all going through learning the same material, and I would constantly see people having challenges with ads, like they were not converting. They were like, "I spent $200, I didn't get one lead. What happened?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, I spent $200 and I already got 25, 30, 40, sometimes 50 or even 100 leads, depending on the cost per lead." So I just started sharing my knowledge as far as what I observed, what I saw working. And other coaches just began asking me to take this over to them. They send me DMs, and I still do up to this day. They're like, "Hey, so can you just do this for me?" Because like not everyone understands advertising, and that's okay. Not everyone understands Facebook Ads Manager, and that's totally okay. It's a whole new platform to learn. And honestly, I've spent thousands of hours in there by now. But even when I first started, like when I looked at this, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is like Egyptian." And just like starting any new job, someone who works in 9 to 5, they start a job, they got to learn the system, they got to learn how to navigate the computers, etc. You have to learn advertising, how to actually navigate the platform, in addition to also learning how do I actually become a marketer? And that's where some of the big challenges comes into place of combining the two. And I want to help to clarify some of that in today's training. So they asked me to start taking over for them, and I was like, you know what? I got you. Let's see what that would look like. And I started offering advertising services. So I launched my marketing services and courses at that time, and that's where we really just started off in the business. Started realizing that I really enjoy working with coaches. I love seeing the impact. I love getting testimonials from, like, when my clients get testimonials and I read it, like I take that in too as well, because I was a part of that, of connecting that client to my client. So I really feel that I love it so much. So since then, I've been going on to just help 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs launch and grow their business and programs leveraging Facebook advertising. So some of our clients that we've worked with, for example, Jessica Meyer, she gave me a shout out to having our process of my ads would help tremendously. Enjoys honesty and thorough explanation. He was realistic about my expectations and how many factors actually go into making a sale through ads. And that's something I always want to be realistic, because it's not something where I show some case studies, and I don't want you to think that, hey, I can just put 2K in there, I'm going to get 8K out. I'm going to put 5K and I'm going to get 60K out. There's a process in that, and it's more than just the investment in the leads, but there's a whole methodology behind launching, behind online business. And if you're watching this training right now, most likely you know that, because you've been launching organically, meaning that you're promoting for 6 to 8 weeks before, even up to 12 weeks. You're trying to get as much leads as possible to join your challenge, to join your group, to join your masterclass, to join your webinar. And you're probably sitting there sometimes looking like, hey, I got 28 people. I got 100 people. If you've been at it for a while, you may get 100, 200, 300, 400 people. But when it comes to like really scaling, you need to get 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. You got to really crank up the lead generation, and you're just slapping that organic ceiling, because it's one of those things where Facebook will show you your organic content, maybe 2, 3, at max 10% of your audience. What about the other 90%? How are you going to reach them? How are you going to reach a cold people who never even heard of you before? So this is where we're going through here now with advertising. So Mark, for example, he's like, he knew he'd come from a period of time where he'd be very busy, so he wanted to hand off his ads completely to someone who could be independent. So we started leveraging his ads on his own. He was doing about 50 to 100 leads a month. When we started working together and optimized the system, started generating 1,200 leads per month, and started just cranking a lot more people to join his in-person events as a coach, to join his online membership, and started really scaling up his program. Taylor Kaiser, within a short amount of time, helped her to grow her email list by 2,000 people. And she's also started making sales, started seeing like, oh, okay, this actually works. In the past, all she's ever done was just generate leads and didn't see the sales behind it. So when I started working with her, we started saying, your ads have to be positioned in a way where it's more than just capturing leads. So our cost per lead did increase, just being truthful, but we started seeing sales, and that's what's important. So we want to attract the right people and convert those people. So some clients that we've worked with here. So I want to dive right into it now. I don't want to take any more time talking so much about the things that we've done and how amazing this is. Hopefully by now you already know through your own launches, to your own business, you realize, and to maybe even to your own trainings and things like that, or as you've done, you see that this process works, but now you're ready to scale it. So let's go into that. So part one is the launch process, right? When you're launching, there's three things that we really go to: the pre-launch, the actual launch, whether you're doing a live launch or you're just doing maybe an evergreen launch. Evergreen launches are a launch because you put everything together and then you put it live, and now you're live. Now that evergreen product needs to get optimized, needs to get analyze to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then you have your post live. This is when you've done your launch and now you're ready to just close things off and you want to debrief. And this is where a lot of magic happens. When we debrief, we see what worked, what didn't work, and this is where we're able to say, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. Let's go back to the blueprint. Let's erase the section. Let's clear that up a little bit. Let's structure that a little bit different. Let's do our emails a little bit different. Let's tweak the messaging on our ads. We got a 1.2% conversion rate. I want to get a 2%. I want to get a 3% conversion rate for my high ticket program. And this is where I believe a lot of magic happens in the post live when carts close. And then when you go back into the pre-launch, you go into the launch, you repeat the process over again. So in the pre-launch, this is about 10 to 14 days before your actual live event. And during this time, you're laser focusing on your messaging. I stress that a lot. It's about your messaging. You want to attract the right people. You want to attract them for the right cost. You want to see that you're getting the right conversion rate. When I say conversion rate, meaning that the amount of people that are converting for your live event, whether it's a masterclass challenge, 5-day event, whatever it's going to be, we get 100 people clicking on that page. We want to see at least 20 of those signing up, giving us their name, email, phone number, whatever you're asking for, or even more. So get 30%, 40%. And this is where we're looking at optimizing. Optimizing ads it's not just about the ads, but it's about everything holistically too as well. Because if we're getting 200-300 link clicks a day and you're just converting 20-30 of those people, it's not the ads that's in the bottleneck there. The bottleneck is that page. Something's going on there. We have to like tweak a little bit the messaging, maybe tweak the layout a little bit. So anyways, we're focusing on messaging heavily during this 10 to 14 day period of time. And what are we focusing on here? Like, how do we focus on the message? And this is through testing ad copy hooks. What is an ad copy hook? An ad copy hook is the core premise of the ad. What are we really hooking people with? What is the pain? What is the challenge that they're facing that we're hooking them with? When you go fishing, if you want to catch a certain type of fish, you can use a certain type of bait. Similarly, when we're online, if we want to capture a certain type of lead, we need to have a certain type of hook, a certain type of angle behind our messaging. So that's what we're testing here. And I stressed this already, our landing page conversion rates. We're looking and talking about our landing page conversion rates to see, are we getting at least 20% of people converting into into signing up? And that's at the minimum. I love to see 40%, 35%, 50%, and in some cases 60, 70. That's very rare, very difficult to achieve sometimes, but it's possible and it happens. So this is also where the bulk of your budget will be used. You always use the bulk of your budget for lead generation, because once you have those leads, we're able to follow up through email. We're able to follow up through social media, able to follow up to text if you're getting a phone, if you're doing SMS texting or using services for Messenger like ManyChats or anything like that. So this pre-launch phase there's a lot going on there. And I stress this, it's a big focus on lead generation. Every single launch, in order to be super successful, we got to have leads. We need to have a lot of leads, and we need to be able to get these leads as much as possible. And for just 10 to 14 days, we got to really, really, really put a big focus on, hey, come to my webinar, my masterclass, and convert as much as possible. So now we go into the live launch. This is where you host your live event. You're pushing that button and you're starting live on the training. Maybe a presentation similar to what I'm doing right now. It may be a webinar, a masterclass, a challenge. a three-part series, whatever you're doing for the live launch. You're going to host your live event, and you're going to open up the cart at the end of the live event, right? So you're going to choose time, and you're going to give the audience your offer. So now you have 1,000 leads. Everyone's there. They have a specific pain, a specific challenge, something that they need help with. They come to your training to help to learn about that. And then you're going to give them the opportunity to continue working with you. Traditional launch model, traditional online business model. And we open it for 5 to 7 days. Why 5 to 7 days? This gives the opportunity to do the maximum conversions possible. You could do 4, you could do 3, you can do 2 if you like. But what we find out for 5 to 7 days is a very, very sweet spot because it takes on average about 7 touch points or close to 7 hours of someone interacting with you before they're going to be able to pay for a high ticket program. Doing that over 3 days or 4 days, what I find is that often we're just right there to where if we had just one more day, it would be able to potentially do another something to interact live with our clients, to send another 2 or 3 emails to them. So we found that our best conversions happen over 5 to 7 days. So if you're launching and you're doing 5 to 7 days, that's great. Anything longer than that just drags it out too much. And now people are beyond that decision making. They're sitting on the fence and there's another 4 or 5 days, like they turn around and jump back off the opposite way. So we want to have a little bit of an urgency, capture these new leads in the height of their emotional state of wanting to really get a solution for this problem before life just happens and they move on to something else. So 5 to 7 days is a great sweet spot. So when it comes to ads, right, during the live, my car's open. So this is an opportunity for us to interact with these new leads. I just got 1,000 leads, 2,000 leads. What are we going to do? So this is where we do retargeting ads, and we're retargeting this hot audience, this new launch list. So this is going to look like your email list, your Facebook and Instagram audience for the past 30 days. And I say engaged audience, that's just a terminology that Facebook uses when you create a custom audience of Facebook and Instagram. You target the engagement, your Facebook page engagement, your Instagram engagement for the past 30 days. And then we also want to target our website visitors. Those people who are visiting our website, checking out our sales page, we want to recapture them and we want to remarket to them to using retargeting ads. And I'll go through a little bit of that too as well. So this is where about 20% of your ads budget will be used. And the reason why, like, honestly, I believe that the open cart phase is really when we're advertising on social media. It's not really about the actual sales on social media, but it's more about the actual awareness. Again, like I mentioned before, the 5 to 7 days, because we want to be in front of our audience a certain amount of time, right? So 7 hours is kind of where it comes up. Having touch points, at least 7 touch points, but it takes 7 to 30 plus touch points. An ad is 1 touch point, right? So if someone sees your ad for the very first time, that's 1 touch point. They open up 2 or 3 emails, you just got 3 touch points. They attend your live training, that's 4 touch points. We're still not even close to 7. We're not even close to 30, right? So this is where now they got to open up emails 2, 3, 4, 5. They need to check out the sales page. And now we increase these touch points. And now we're at 12, 13, 14, 15. Now they're on social media. They're seeing your ads. We're touching points. So we get 20, 30 touch points before a cart closes. And we're most likely to convert those people there. But so about 20% of your ads budget. And the reason why I put about 20% is like if you're doing 30K, like when we do 30K, it's not necessarily 20% of the ads budget. 20% of the ads budget comes out to $8,000. So we may just use like $3,000 or $4,000 for retargeting there. So you have to kind of gauge it as far as like, hey, I'm spending 5K. How much do I want to spend on retargeting? Let me spend 500 on retargeting because you're targeting this small core audience. There's 1,000 people on the email list, 1 or 2,000 people on social media, depending on your audience size. So, and on the flip side of it, if you're spending 40K on advertising and you have this massive social media audience, you already have a massive email list, you may need to allocate more towards retargeting to capture this list. So, like I said, it's about customizing this approach. It's not one size fits all. It's giving some general guidelines, but you need to make an executive decision or work with a strategist like myself or someone else that can help you to break that budget down the best way for your business to help you get help you to maximize the best use of your ad spend so you can get the best return on your ad spend. So now we go to post live. And I mentioned before, post live is all about debriefing. What worked well, what didn't work well, where do we need to make changes? If you're sitting there and you're like, you're not getting the conversions you want, well, what's going on? If you're sitting there and you got a way more conversions than you even thought in your mind, well, what's going on? What happened? How did this really happen? And how can we repeat this process? How can we repeat the process to get great results? And how can we repeat this process? If we didn't get results, how can we repeat it so we can get better results? Right? If you got a 0% conversion rate, you want to know what happened. If you got a 1% conversion rate, you want to know what happened. If you get a 5% conversion rate, guess what? You want to know what happened. So this is where the post slide goes, and goes with that debrief. And we look at sale conversions. We'll open all this up here too as well. So we look at our sales conversions, our cost per sale. What does it actually cost us for a sale? And then we actually compare that to our cost per lead. If it costs me $50 to get a sale, and I'm only spending $2 cost per lead, that's a great ratio, right? It shows me that I can really get a lot more leads in there to get more sales. Pay attention to the email open rates, the click rates, especially during when someone signs up and now we're giving them reminders to show up for our live training. What are those open rates looking like? What are those click rates looking like? And if the open rates are low, the click rates are low, well, guess what? You got to change some things. You got to change the headline for the emails. You got to change the call to action to get better clicks, because it just shows that like it's not working, right? It's not working effectively. And what's the benefit of getting 1,000 leads if you have a bottleneck with the emails, right? You're going to be looking like my ads didn't work. Well, your ads did work. You got a lot of leads. Your emails didn't. So this is where the debrief really comes in. And likewise, you're going to have, for a launch, from when someone signs up for a webinar to all the way to card close, that's often about 20 or so emails that are going out over that time period, maybe even more. Some of my clients do 40 emails, 50 emails from that moment when someone signs up. If they sign up 10 days before your live webinar, you need to nurture those people along the way. And that's where there's a lot of nurturing emails going. We want to pay attention to what's working, what messaging is really working, what our audience resonating with, to know where to make adjustments. Then we look at ad conversion rates. What is our cost per lead? What also is the actual conversions? If I get 100 link clicks, how many people are signing up? Ideally, we want to be at least 20%. So 20 people signing up out of every 100 link clicks. At a minimum. If you're below that, something really has to change with the messaging, with the angle, with the topic of, maybe even the topic of the actual webinar itself. And you can make these changes live as they're happening. Often for a landing page, the 80% of conversions happen based off of the headline. The better your headline can be, think of like if you walk in a store, you see a magazine, or you're online and you see a blog. What's going to help you to actually, what makes you want to read the blog is the title of the blog, right? So similarly, the headline on that landing page is going to play a big role in that. It's just a little tip for you if you're actually doing a live launch right now and you're seeing low conversion rates. So next thing we look at is what are the best performing ad images we have? What are the best performing videos we have? What's the best performing ad copy that we have? And which is our best performing audiences? We want to be able to know this because, again, we want to repeat what works. And in doing this process, you're also going to see what ad images didn't work, what videos didn't work, what ad copy didn't work, what audiences didn't work. So you can say, all right, I'm going to take those and put those to the dumpster. And I'm going to take this set that didn't work. Let's keep this. Let's also now model that. If this worked really well, let me design some new images, record a new video, craft a new ad copy that has a similar angle and messaging of the ones that did work. So now as you repeat the launch and as you increase your budget, you're able to scale more effectively because you have more ads, more images, more videos that are converting. And this gives you opportunity now to even test additional audiences because you already have your winners that you know are working really well, and you can test to find even newer winners. And this is one of the things that we do to help scale our accounts, because I often get asked, how can you spend 30, 40, 50K, 100K and maintain a good cost per lead? It just so happens if you look at these ad accounts, we're not just running 3 images and 2 ad copy. Often when we're doing like 40, 50K, I have like 10, 12 images that are going. We have five different ad copies that are going. We have like 20 different audiences because we've tested it already. We like there's 10 images that we've proven already. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 videos that we've already proven over the past 2 years. And I'm giving an extreme example here, but you may start slower than that to where you have 2, 3 images that are proven and you're not going into a second launch 2, 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever the time frame is, with proven graphics, proven video, proven audiences, and you're able to now continue the experiment mentality of testing to find more images, more videos, more copy, more audiences to convert even more. So, the overall reason we're looking at this is to know what changes are needed in order to repeat and improve our results, regardless of what, right? How do we repeat if we had a really amazing launch? How do we improve our results if my launch didn't really go as planned? And this is where it happens in the debrief because we're looking and analyzing all these things. And this takes a few days. Just to be realistic, this takes a few days to do because looking at the ads themselves, that takes a while. Looking at the emails, that takes a bit. We're not rushing through this. We want to really, really get a good grasp on this, and setting an intentional time to do so will reap a lot of rewards for your business. So now I want to move into part two. Like I just shared this overall process, the timeline for launching, when you're actually launching, the timeline for open cart, and also the debrief. So I want to actually go to ads behind it. I promised that I will show you like the way to create the ads. So let's go into that so we can talk about the lead generation ads and the retargeting ads for retargeting the warm and your hot leads. So pre-launch, right? There's for lead generation, there's a few different things you can do. And as I mentioned before, I want to share my top three launch events. And I'm just going to quickly go through this because it's really because I spend a lot of time individually in all these, and that's not the purpose of today's training. But I believe that workshops are probably right now in the current market one of the best ways because a lot of people are looking for solutions, and workshops are probably the best way to give a solution, a very quick win for a lot of different people, and they can be done for in a 45-minute, 1 hour training, 2, 3 hour training. You could also do it for free, or you could charge a low ticket price, $7, $10, something like that. I recommend doing free first before you start charging, but nonetheless, workshops are amazing in order to do that. And the benefit is that people know when they go to a workshop, they're actually going to be able to do something. When someone's doing a webinar, a lot of people have a resistance to that because they know there's going to be more information that they're getting and then a sales at the end of it. So webinars are being done differently now, and it's kind of transitioned into this masterclass that can be fronted as, it's like a webinar fronted as a masterclass. But I want to clarify that when I say masterclass, I truly mean a masterclass, something where you're not only giving information, but you're also teaching. At the end of it, people are walking away like, hey, I have something that I can take action and implement right away, even if they don't buy, right? But they also know that they're still just going one step up the staircase, and there's still many more steps to take, and that's where working with someone in a paid capacity is going to help them to get to the next level, and that's where you sell your program. But nonetheless, one of the differences between masterclass and webinar is masterclass, you're actually teaching stuff. You're not just telling stuff. So, and then number three is challenges. So our leads are often at different levels of awareness. And sometimes we want to work with a lead who's at a certain level. So, for example, as an agency, I want to work with coaches and consultants who already have a launch idea figured out. They already have their funnels built out. They've already been doing things organically. They already have an audience that they're building, and they already have an offer that they've already proven. So sometimes I come across a lot of people who aren't in that phase yet, but they're interested in ads because they know ads can help them to get there. So if I needed to get someone at that level, a challenge can allow me to reach someone who's at the point where they just have a website, they have a program, but they don't even have a masterclass. They don't have like a webinar, let's say. They don't have a webinar, they don't have an idea. I can walk them through that process of developing an idea, and then the exact step by step to lay the foundation to now by day 4, day 5, they're at the point where they're actually ready to run ads. And that's when they can work with me either as a consultant or work with me, I help them along the way, or work with me and my team to just completely take everything over and run the ads for them, create and run the ads for them. So this is where the beauty of challenges comes in, because you can raise that level of awareness to where of your new lead to where you need them to be, so that way they're in a position now to start working with you. And challenges allow you to do that. And there's a lot of businesses. You could probably think of your business like, where does your lead need to be, and do you like, would a challenge make sense for you to be able to pour into them, to teach them over 5 days, or however long you want the challenge to be, so that way now by the end of day 4, day 5, they can more easily say yes to working with you in your program. So these events attract high quality leads, not just cheap leads, right? So I want to give a few different examples here. Like this is one of it's like a money blocks training. This is something that's more about money mindset. This attracts a lot of people, and we got close to 900 leads, $2.41 a lead, and this alone was a six figure offer as it converted. And I also want to show, like, depending on the niche, this right here is we can see the cost per lead is higher. This is a different niche. It's a much smaller audience. And the cost per lead naturally becomes a little bit higher just because we're reaching a higher quality audience. So we want to get the right audience. We end up getting 14 applications for a 25K program. The difference between a $1,000 program versus a $25,000 program, you will often see that you're getting a cost per lead that's really higher. And this is why it's important to test. I put the screenshot here on purpose because we're testing different interests with images. And you see here this LAL, this is a lookalike audience. We tested different lookalike audience. Got close to 10,000 people we reach, and you can see here it only converted once. So this is an audience that it didn't work. It didn't work out for this particular offer. So we testing to see which works, what actually is going to capture the best leads for our audience. Similar here too as well. We test different interests, and you can see warm audience is pretty consistent. We always want to retarget our warm audience. And then lastly, this is an actual workshop, the where it was a purchase. The workshop itself was $9. It cost us about $13 to get someone to join the workshop. Remember, this is lead generation. This is not about profit. It's about lead generation. All these right here, we're paying on average $25, $26 for a lead to sign up for a free event. Now, this is this $13 that they're paying $9 to even join this event. So this is the workshops are pretty amazing. The show up rates are really cool. So I will spend more time on that. I just want to show you some of the reasons why I recommend these 3 type of launch events. So let's actually go into the live launch ads, right? So again, we're retargeting our warm leads. We're retargeting our hot leads. And this is an example of what I mean by that when it comes to retargeting. You set up these custom audiences in Facebook. So there's Facebook page engagement. You have Instagram engagement, website visitors, and then you have your actual email list that comes up here too as well. And these are the primary audiences you want to take. In the screenshot, we show 365 days. During the launch for retargeting, we did 365 days for retargeting people to sign up and join the webinar, masterclass, challenge, whatever it's going to be, workshop. But once you start retargeting for live, like the screenshot doesn't show, but you really just target the 30 days because, at this point now you want to get the people who are hot, right? So you get the warm leads to join your live training, and you get the hot leads to show them your actual offer. So how many ads are needed? We're going to create ads. How many ads do we got to create? Like, where do we get the good results? And this will vary depending on your budget, but at a minimum, for lead generation, you want to have a minimum of 3 ads and or video, like a combination. So 2 images, 1 video. I don't really recommend 2 videos, 1 image. That's just for some reason that it's it just doesn't really perform that well for whatever reason. 2 images, 1 video does really great. 3 images by themselves, that's good too as well. But it's always a test. Like, in my experience, 1 image and 2 videos just has not performed really well. It's like I find it better to do 3 images and three videos versus that combination for whatever reason. You can see here, like, just going into the ads library, searching some other entrepreneurs, you can see how many ads they're running at any one given time. So for example, Tony Robbins, at the time I created this training, he had about 100 ads that were running. Nike, they were unable to display every ad from Nike at this time. They had about 1,300 ads that are actively running. Kajabi platform, 170 ads. one of our clients here. We have about 21 ads that we're running at one time. And you can see here just some of the different online entrepreneurs in Porterfield, Expert Summit, Mind Valley. They're running a bunch of different ads. Like they're really testing different ads. And the cool thing is when you have let me talk about that here in a second. So this is an example of like what images can look like, and you can create these on Canva. You want them to be square, so square format, like you would just a regular Facebook post. This will allow you to show up on Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of different messaging and a lot of different placements across the platform. This on the left side here, this is an example of a text only ad, right? It just has text. There's no picture of the entrepreneur. And this is actually one of Amy Porterfield's ads. So there's no picture of entrepreneurs or anything like that. It's really just about the messaging. And this is where I talk about like messaging is super important. So the whole messaging behind this is bring in more leads without creating more content. Download the free guide. Like it's really specific for people who want to get more leads without doing more content, without doing more work. They're probably tired of posting three to five times a day on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Like it gets exhausting, it's tiring to keep up with that. It's very, very difficult. So I wanted to find out how do I get more leads? And similar to what I'm teaching you right now is that exact process. How do you get more leads without needing to post 3, 4, 5 times a day, without having to be on social media for an extended amount of time when you're launching? There's an example here of more of like a behind the scenes entrepreneur showing like they're actually live coaching, and 5 secrets to make your offer to make your offer conversion skyrocket. So it's very clear. This is for people who are they're already selling. They already have programs, they already have offers, and they want to actually now increase the conversion rate. So we think about that messaging angle. Excuse me. We're thinking about that messaging angle. Like who are we trying to attract? Who are we trying to target? And you create your ads to attract and target those right people, right? So that's an example of what images look like. You have to get creative with this. My team designed ad graphics from scratch for our client based off of what their landing page looks like, based off of their branding. You can leverage AI. Adcreatives.ai is a really great place to go. You can use the creative graphics if you're not that creative. Canva itself, you can actually use Canva. They have a lot of templates to use. Just edit the templates, put your colors in there. It's really amazing. You can really get some great graphics without having to put too much thought into it. I do believe you want to have a lot of thought into it, of course, because when it comes to the messaging angle about it, we want to make sure that our messaging is really spot on and we're really speaking the language of our ideal client. So this is where I want to talk about how do we get to show where Nike has 1,300 ads, Tony Robbins had 100 ads, one of our clients had 21 ads. So now we have, right, how many ad copies are needed? I recommend doing a minimum of at least 2 versions of ad copy. Now here's the thing. You have 2 ad copy, you have 3 ad creatives, you now have 6 ads, right? You just multiply it. You have 6 ads. And you target different audiences. That's where you start multiplying how much ads you have. If you do 3 versions, now you go from 3 to 9. You have 9 ads that you're actually using. And I haven't even discussed headlines yet, right? So headlines is another thing. If you have three creatives, 2 ad copy, and 2 different headlines, you automatically have 12 ads now, right? This is how you multiply your ads very, very simply by using and testing different creatives. So what I mean by short and long, so short is less than 200 words. When you start going over 200 words, that goes into long copy. Long copy is about 500 words. On social media, you don't want to go too long to where you're writing this whole long essay. Often people will skim through it. They may read the first sentence, skim through the rest of it, click on the link, and you may start seeing lower conversion rate, things like that. So the important thing is it's not about the word count. It's not about long copy. It's not about short copy. It's about speaking to your ideal client and communicating with them in the way that we're understanding their challenges, their needs, their pain points, their problems, and we're offering them a solution to help them right now, immediately in their life. And that's what works the best. Whether that's 200 words, 300 words, 400, 500 words, it doesn't matter. This is just a guideline of like, where do you start, right? So short copy about 200 words, long copy about 500 words. The most important thing to remember though is going to be that the messaging behind that, the copy hooks is what's the most important. You can screw this. The 200 doesn't matter. Write write in a way that you're clearly communicating with your audience, and that's where you're going to get the results. So some guidelines for you here. So let's talk about that. How do you actually right now? How do we create an ad copy that's going to connect with our audience? This you see right here, I think it was about 400 words. If you want to pause and count that, go for it. But you can take my word for it. I don't even remember exactly, but it was something like that. And this is what I call my ad flow formula. And I developed this ad flow formula about 4 years ago. And I've tweaked it along the way based off of the market transition. Um, it was sampled from another entrepreneur in the space. I forgot her name, but she had an ad flow formula that was like 10 steps. And once I started going through it, I realized, this can be really simplified. And from my experience and from working with coaches, I really want to tweak this specifically for the coaching and the coaching niche. So what you see here is the ad flow formula. There's 5 parts of it. Number 1, capture attention. Number 2, relate to their audience. Number 3, the shift. What is the change? What happened? And then we go into your solution. And then number 5 is their turn, right? So it's very, very simplified. I want to break this down, what I mean by this. So number 1, capture attention. This is a statement or question that we're going to ask our ideal client, or that we're going to say to help capture their attention. So for example, I have mine up here. I remember the first time we ran ads for our business. It was so crazy to see email lists grow and have a fully filled launch without spending endless hours online trying to do it myself. And I'm really focusing on targeting those who were doing the organic game. You're pushing it organically, and you're realizing that, man, you really got to start doing advertising. You really got to start leveraging advertising in order to scale your business the way you want to. So this is really for capturing attention. And like I mentioned, we have different ad copy. This is just one type of hook. There's other different types of hook you want to go with. This is an example of mine. Number 2, relate. So I love seeing the emails come in that another person registered for the event while relaxing with my family at the beach. And this is true. Like, I was literally on vacation and ads running, people were signing up for this training. So um, we kind of expand on that a little bit too as well, and going into a little bit more of relating to the audience as much as we possibly can. Number 3 is the shift. And this is where we go into now the shift that happened, right? So whereas, like, imagine effortlessly achieving 6-figure launches and watching your business grow in revenue. And this is the shift that happened for me once I realized that the power of advertising. So I want to talk about that shift, and you can think about, what's that going to be for your business? What was that shift in your business, and how can you communicate that now to your audience after you've captured their attention? You've related to them, like, you let them know you understand, whether it's weight loss, whether it's business coaching, life coaching, whatever the case is. I find that this actual formula works amazing for life coaches if you're a life coach, because it's very, very personable, because often a lot of life coaches are sharing their experience. And when you can capture their attention, you can really, really expand on the relating portion. And then the shift, when things change for you, right? So you talk about the pain, the issue, the pain, the challenges, the problems, and then going into the shift of how you turn that around. And then we finally move into the solution. The solution now is what you're giving them to help them to get this transformation for themselves, right? So really, here now I go to our training will guide you through the exact step needed to attract highly targeted leads, saving you precious time and lighting up your results. Join us as we demystify the paid advertising process and provide you with a clear, actionable roadmap to follow. So again, I give this exact solution. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can even give them bullet points. So you tell them about your challenge or your masterclass, and tell them, in this masterclass, you'll learn, and you give 3 to 5 bullet points as far as what they're going to learn. And when I say bullet points, use like emojis in there, right? That's like one of the really, really way to stand out and capture attention. So Facebook doesn't allow us to bold or italics our ad copy and our ad text. So we want to be able to incorporate emojis if that makes sense for your business. Not every business, that doesn't make sense for every business, but if it does for you, you can do that too as well. You can outline this really any way you like. It makes sense for your offer. And then number five is their turn. And really now you're just giving them the opportunity. Like now is your turn to take action. Really what this is. This is the call to action. It's their turn, right? So let's just say it's time to break free from the constraints of organic reach and unlock the full potential of paid advertising. Your coach's business deserves to thrive and impact the lives of many more. Don't miss out on this special opportunity that could change your life. Secure your spot in this training today. And then I gave the link to join my webinar that I had back in this was July webinar. So you want to give them their turn. It's a really simple formula, and this will allow you to create short copy, long copy, whatever it is. But really, like I mentioned before, is really just about connecting with the audience. So you may need to sit there. And if you like writing, write a few different versions of it, whether it's super short, where it's only like 100 words, or you pour your heart out and all of a sudden it's 500 to 1,000 words, and you can edit and tweak it to make it shorter or smaller, or even try it, test it out test it out at 500 words, test it out at 1,000 words. It's okay to do that. Really, again, speak to your audience in the language that they will understand. Show them, show them that you can help them, and you'll start seeing amazing results. Like it's not about word count. It's not about anything like that. It's really just about effective advertising. Is a lot about knowing your audience and communicating how you can help them in that way, right? So let's move on here. So how many ads are needed? So live launch ads now, these are your retargeting, very similar to before for lead generation. You're really just kind of following the same process, except now the call to actions and the messaging is different. So instead of advertising to a webinar, a masterclass, or a challenge, you're now sending this here to your offer, whether it's a group coaching program, whether that's going to be to actually schedule a call with you, or however that call to action is. Like, it has to be customized for your business, but you're following the same process. A minimum of three images or videos, a combination of, so 2 images, 1 video. And you could do more, you could do 4 or 5. It is it just depends on the budget you're using, right? But a minimum of 3, a minimum of 2 ad copy, varies depending on your audience size. Like, it's one of those things where if it's your very first time launching, and you have an email list of like 1,000 people, you have a social following of like 2,000-3,000 people cumulatively. You may not need to do a bunch of different ad copies, but I do recommend 2, so that way you can test different angles to see which angle's we want to always see which angle is gonna respond better with our images, right? So we have 3 images of videos with ad copy 1, and we have the same 3 with ad copy 2, and we'll see which ones are getting the better click-through rate, which ones are getting the better link clicks, to show what is our audience actually paying attention to in our messaging. So I want to talk about part 3 now, which is the time needed to manage ads. I get this question asked often from entrepreneurs, like, hey, should I just do it myself, or should I hire this out? And I can't answer that for you. I love my business. I love helping coaches, but at the same time, I can't tell you if you should hire it out or not. But what I can share with you is the time needed and help you to make a decision for yourself, whether it's in your best interest. Like, what do you charge an hour rate for a consult, and what is it going to actually, if you were managing ads, would it make sense for you to hire it out? Some of my clients charge $1,000 for an hour consult. If it's going to take them 20 hours to manage your ads, like, hey, it's better for you to hire it out, because if you just did 20 hours of consult, the amount of money you would make would be tremendously more than if you would pay just to hire the service out, as an example. All right, so let's go through this here for the pre-launch and the live launch, what it looks like to manage it. And this is just from my experience when I was managing ads before I had a whole team and I was just doing everything myself. And understand that everyone's skill is different. Everyone's ability to execute tasks is different. So know that if you work at above average pace, think back to like school, right? Were you the first person to finish a test or a project, or did you finish at the end, right? I remember back, I was actually having a talk with my wife about this, and in high school in algebra, like, I would be one of the first people to finish. I just made sense in my mind. I didn't need to write things out. Well, I just respond to math that way. When it came to my science, I was probably one of the last person to get things in, because I needed more time to process, right? So know who you are and understand your way, and adjust these times as needed based off of that, right? So let's go into the pre-launch ads, lead generation. I say it takes about 5 to 6 hours to get the ads created. This is creating the images, the video, and write an ad copy. It can take about 5-6 hours to really, really get these things just created. And that's doing the bare minimum, the 3 images. One thing I find the very, very first time I started recording ad videos, ad videos are typically short, right? 15 seconds to 2-3 minutes at the max. But it took me 45 minutes, an hour just to get that one video because I was doing like 10 different takes. I had to script out what I was gonna say, and it took a while just to do that. So, and that was me. Now I can actually record that in 5 minutes because I'm better at scripting. I have some templates that I use for scripting, things that I've created myself. So over time, these times can adjust. But let me stick on track here. 5 to 6 hours to get the ads created. About 1 to 3 hours per day ads management, and it highly depends on the budget. If you're doing a higher ads budget and you have 10 campaigns, it's gonna take a lot more to actually manage on a daily basis versus if you're doing $10 a day and you have one campaign like that's probably going to take you 15-20 minutes versus even a whole hour. So there's a lot of variations in the time of how it's going to use depending on the budget. That plays a big role to it. Similarly, if the budget is higher and you're actually creating 5 to 6 graphics and videos and 3 ad copy, you're going to maybe want to double this time for that. So what is the time being spent on? Uploading ads, actually just uploading it to the actual ads manager, hitting the create button, choosing the right campaign, going through the actual setup process, creating and testing different audiences. This is where audiences are on Facebook. This is interest targeting, lookalike audience targeting, demographic, things like that, where in order to test it, you have to really let it run for a good up to about 2 to 3 days or about 1,500 to 2,000 impressions, meaning that about 1,500 people saw the ad or 1,000 people or so saw the ad before you can even know if that audience is working or not. Anything is testing ad creatives, video images. Depending on your budget, you may have everything set up to test all at once. You have one campaign that's your images and video with ad copy 1, headline 1. The next campaign that's images and videos with ad copy 2, headline 1. And then you may have ad copy 1, headline 2, ad copy 2, headline 2, depending on how many variables you're testing. And it takes some time again to test those things to even get them set up. And of course, kind of same thing here with the creatives, just testing the ad copies. One thing that can get people stuck is reading and interpreting the data or the reports. As I mentioned earlier in this training, when you first go to Facebook Ads Manager platform, it's a new software to learn. It's a new platform to learn. And learning the marketing piece, which I've been talking a lot about today, and then also learning the actual ads manager piece, which I'm not really talking about that. I'm not even going into the actual nooks and crannies of that data. That takes a lot longer to even talk about because there's a lot there to cover. But reading and interpreting that data and looking at those reports is potentially one of the areas where a lot of time can be, especially if you're new to advertising. And I remember when I very first started, I was actually spending on just one account, maybe our account actually, it was 3 to 4 hours a day because I was looking from the morning and then midday and then in the afternoon, and I'll sneak off at nighttime and I'll go in there and just kind of look and see what's my click-through rate, like how much link clicks am I getting, what's the cost for my link clicks, how many people are signing up, what my conversion rate is. I was looking at this constantly because I really wanted to get an understanding of how my ad creatives impacted those things. Depending on my creatives, which video, which image was giving a better click-through rate, which audiences were getting a better click-through rate, which audiences were getting a better conversion rate. And it took time to really just analyze all those things and really to even make decisions as far as like when something isn't working, what changes do I need to make in order to get better results. And I'm a firm believer in that if your ads are live and running and they're not working, you need to make a change right away. Don't just let it run. Make a change, let it, you're not just going to be letting it run and saying, oh, well, it's not really converting how I want, but I only got 2-3 more days left. Let me just leave it alone. No, you have 2-3 more days left. Make a change, make an adjustment. Let's get some different ads in there, and just, get some better results because you don't want to just let it spend, just to see things through. That's not my mindset. My mindset, experiment mentality, like I'm live, my ads are live, and I can make changes. And this is one of the great thing of the position we are right now. when it comes to digital advertising compared to like in the past when it was print advertising. Someone printed something and that ad went out, like they had no choice. They had to just leave it go. Whether that campaign worked really well or that campaign totally flopped, there really wasn't much they could do about it. But now there's a lot we can do about it. We could shut a campaign off, create some new ad graphics, create some new images, test different audiences to get better results. And that's one of the cool things I love about online advertising. So live launch ads. These are very similar. It can take 5 to 6 hours to get the ads created. Management is a little bit different, and again, it really, really highly depends on the duration. So, for example, if you have a 5 day cart open window versus a 7 day, that's an additional 3 to 6 hours of management that goes into it, depending on that time frame. Now, this is all in addition to the stuff you're already doing for your launch, the emails you're sending out, if you're uploading a VA, whatever you're going to be doing. So in total, you're really looking about 12 hours between live launch and lead generation of getting your ads created. And then altogether, if you're running ads for 10 days plus 5, so 15 days altogether, you're really looking at an additional 20 to 25 hours or more of actual management. Altogether, a good 35, 40 hours of managing your ads over the course of 3 weeks or so, right? So it's not just in one shot. And it just really depends on a lot of different factors on budget. That could be less, it could be more, and also how quickly you can go in there. Like one thing I do is I can very, very quickly go in there and look at the data and understand what things mean and know what decisions to make based off of what I see. So like for me as management, now for my own account is very, very quick and easy. But when I first started, like I mentioned, I was constantly in the morning, in the midday, afternoon. I just kind of sneak there because I want to know, I want to see what was happening, I want to see the results, and I had all the alerts set up. So as soon as someone signed up, I got an email on my phone, and I was really hyper in tune to it. Now it's like I turn that off because I know it's working. I know leads are coming in. I don't have to do that as much anymore. So it's a lot more relaxed on my plate. But that's the difference of being in this environment for over 5 years versus starting and being in it for just a month or so. So um, I want to really, really stress that. And that's really, really a very, very important place to be. So next, I want to run some math, run some numbers. And what this is, when I say run math, run numbers, like, okay, well, how do we get results for our ads? And what does it look like in terms of actual ad spend? Like, how much do we actually have to spend behind ads in order to get results? And there's a few factors that go into this. I want to really, really talk about this in a clear way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up my launch calculator. I created this launch calculator, oh gosh, about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And this was based off of what I learned from other coaches and what I learned from actual launching itself. And what this does, it gives us an opportunity to look at how much potential sales we're looking to make based off of a certain conversion rate, based off of a certain cost per lead. So some of the variables in here that you just cannot control, as much as you really want to try, you can do as much as you can, but I guarantee you cannot control it. It's cost per lead. This is going to give you a cost, and every offer is different. Every offer, I share some examples of a training that was giving us $2 cost per lead, one that was giving us $25 cost per lead, and a workshop that was giving us $13 cost of purchase. Like there's so much variability in there, and every account's different. So this is something though you will kind of get an average after you do this a few times. You'll see that, hey, it's actually costing me about $18 cost per lead. If I run something in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall, I'm going to have a different cost for each of those seasons for the exact same offer, for the exact same webinar. And you can average that to see what's going to average cost, right? If you run something typically in the fall, especially around the holidays in November and in December, your cost per lead is going to be higher because so many people, it's a retail environment during that time, and there's a lot more competition for coaches to win the placements of the ad. So it just costs more to advertise, and in turn you have a higher cost per lead. So let's look at this, right? So most people for high ticket is $2,000. That's anything under 2,000 is not really high ticket, it's more like mid ticket. Low tickets really under 500 and $200. And super low tickets like 7, 10, 15, 20, $47. So let's say $2,000 is your program price, group program that you're doing for 3 months. And in your ad account, you're getting a cost per lead of $10. Most webinars average about $8 to $10, just across the board. You get those that are in the 20s, 30s. You get those that are like super cheap for like $2. So you get like an average about $10 and 12, 15. But you need to know exactly what's going to be in your account. So if you're running ads before, look at the average, and you can calculate that. The next thing is going to be the conversion rate. So what are you converting at? If you've ran a launch before and you've converted 3%, you can put that in here. If you've done 4 or 5 launches, you can just do the average of those launches. But for purposes of this training, I'm just going to stick to the statistics of, on average, over the lifetime, over 12 to 18 months, you'll see a 2% conversion rate happen. And on any individual launch, typically we'll see an average of 2% conversion rate happening. If there's a good messaging, there's enough leads, and the program price is about 2,000 or so, we'll see about a 2% conversion training. So the next thing is going to be how much budget you need to put in order to get a certain amount of results. So in this populated field here, we see $40,000 is projected to give us about 4,000 people on an email list and generate sales of $176,000, right? So you may not be in a position to do that right away. It's like, whoa, okay, 40,000, that's not where I'm going to be starting off right away. It doesn't make any sense to do that. We want to start off a little bit lower. We'll put 1,000 in. What are we projected to see? So we're projected to see about 100 people join our email list, and about, using the percentage, about 2% is going to buy. Like I mentioned before, this is a great place to be if you're going to start off and you want to do it yourself. You want to kind of get an idea of like how ads work. You can be able to see this, to use this and see. I will tell you that having like 100 people on the email list, the 2% statistics doesn't really always apply to that, right? I've seen launches where someone had 100, 150 people and they've had a 10% conversion rate, and they're like, oh my gosh, let's scale this. And then they do it and they get 1,000 leads and it goes down to 2%. Like, it's just one of those things where the statistics will like typically play out a lot. And I've seen also where people have 100 leads and no one converted. So it's one of those things where, like I mentioned, you want to have enough leads coming into it. But this is a great place to be if you're doing it yourself. You want to kind of get more leads in addition to the organic efforts, because towards the end of it, like if you have your existing list and you're able to generate another 200 or so leads from your existing list, you can see where you're still going to get about a 2% conversion rate. So 7% of people will typically convert. And this right here will overall be a 13x return on your ad spend. So that's just something to look at and consider as you're doing this. So more realistically, I like to say that a healthy budget for a launch, like if you have a proven concept, you've done this organically, you got people to attend your webinar, attend your challenge, attend your masterclass, you've already converted, you're seeing a good conversion rate. Something like around 5,000 is a really awesome place to go, because you start seeing a pretty good return on ad spend, 6x return on ad spend, and your earnings per lead. So meaning that what do you earn per lead is $44. Now, this is where you also want to start looking at how can you get your cost per lead lower, or it doesn't matter if you're getting a 1% conversion rate. You want to know how can we get higher quality leads. This is where I say you want to go in this with experimentality. I never recommend going all into Facebook to where it's going to make you broke. Like, this is just a tool to use to help you to scale. So approach it in a way that's going to allow you to do that, right? So now, I mentioned before, you can use this to allow you to actually start scaling up your business, right? So approach is small. So for example, one of our clients, again, she started off in using a 2K ad spend, had nobody on our email list, and she generated 8,000. Oh, wow, she actually got exact 2% conversion rate. Now I think about it. So again, 4x return on ad spend. Now we went into this launch again, right? But here what the difference was. The next time we went into the launch, she increased her budget slightly, but the big difference is now she had 200 people on the email list. And when you already have people, like I mentioned, this 2% conversion rate compounds, meaning that you get the 2% conversion rate in launch 1, you have launch 2, about 2% of these people will still convert, an additional 2%. So now we have the current email list to work with. So even if we didn't change anything, if we just kept the exact same budget, all of a sudden we're potentially able to double our results without having to even increase our budget. And we do this process again, right? We have 400 leads. We're still able to work these leads. We're still able to launch with these leads. And this is where you start moving into now scaling it up. But guess what? You know, you're most likely going to start increasing your ads budget, but you get the leads. So when you launch again, now you have 900 leads. In addition to using the same budget, you're able to continually grow your results. So this is where the beauty of advertising works, because especially this process of really capturing and growing an asset of your business, because this email list becomes an asset, right? Just because you launch once and you didn't get like 1,000 leads. Well, guess what? We're now growing to getting closer to 1,000 leads the more we launch. And though this is just an example of just doing 3 launches, and now the current email list is 1,400. Run this again. Now the email list is it was 900. Now the email list is 1,400. Now you're in year two, about to get into your fourth launch, and you have 1,400 people on your email list, and you're not even increasing the ads budget by that much. Like, it's staying the same thing. And this is where we start moving into like, hey, how do I actually get my launch to convert to 6 figures? Well, it's building up the asset. You build up the asset that you have of your email list. People see that consistency. You gain testimonials. You have a effective program, and you start building an authority, and you start getting more. You're not even getting a better conversion rate, but you're getting more people to convert because you have this asset. And I keep saying asset. Like, your email list is one of the biggest assets you could ever have. Facebook can go away tomorrow. Instagram can go away tomorrow. TikTok can go away tomorrow. But your email list is your email list. You have this email list file, and you have 1,400 people that, if for some reason all social media goes away, you can still market to these people. So even if you have zero ad spend and you're trying to launch, and you can launch just your email list without running ads, just solely launching to the people in your list a different offer. Let's say you have a bigger offer now. You're like, you know what? I love that program. I see a different need, and you have a $5,000 program that you can still launch to your audience without even needing to do any ads. You have this email list of 1,400 people. The 2% conversion rate will typically stay true, right? And you can do a 6-figure launch without even needing to spend ad spend, because you've compounded those results of launching, growing the email list, launching, growing the email list, launching, growing the email list. And this is where one of those things where you see coaches that are doing a $1 million launch, a $500,000 launch. You wonder, like, well, how did they get there? This is what they did. They've launched over the past 3-4 years their email list. They have a 30, 40K email list, and they're able to, without even running any ads. And they still do. I don't see any coaches that are typically at that level who are not running ads, but they're converting at a really, really massive and amazing level. So, I want to share this with you just so you can have a better understanding. Hopefully that really clears it up as far as like, really, how does this process work to help you to scale your offers up there, and continue to get really amazing results, right? Because this is where, 1,400, you're at the point now where you have 150K. Really, why wouldn't you even put 20K into your next launch? And this is where you start seeing a lot more people convert into it. And people will say, well, 2% of the list already converted. You're not going to get 2% anymore. I haven't found that to be true. What I found to be true is that there's often, always, about 2% of the audience who are ready to purchase and invest into our program. I did put this to 5K. So let's go back to that. You launched that 2K program again with an entire email list. You put 20K in the ad spend and 7.4x return on ad spend. It's not even about the return on ad spend. If you look at the dollar amount, because the very, very first launch was like a 8x return on ad spend, but it only generated like $8,000 versus you put 20K and you generate 149K. So there's a point where our seasoned entrepreneurs understand that a 3x return on ad spend, if you put $500,000 in ad spend, you get a 3x return. That's $1 million. And it's like, well, 7x, but would you rather make $1 million or 149K. So it's really just the return on ad spend is, while it's a number we look at and it's great to see, um, like a high return on ad spend doesn't really mean much compared to like the overall numbers behind it, right? So I wanted to, just to kind of share that too as well. Let me go back over to my slides and let's whoops, that is not my slides. Share screen, slide there. So we ran some numbers. And like I mentioned, the numbers needed to really, I'm sorry, what you need to run the numbers is the program price. We need to know what a program price is going to be, and our cost per lead, and also our conversion rate. Like I said, if you don't have a cost per lead, that's something where you can use average. I say about $10 is like a great place to even put down. But once you start running ads, you start seeing what you're converting at. Now, if your cost per lead is up there, let's say it's $30, right? And you're like, man, my cost per lead is high. And you look at your landing rate, your landing page, and it's converting at 10%. You could automatically significantly drop your cost per lead by optimizing that landing page and getting it to convert at 20, 30% by looking at what could be the possible reason. Typically is the headline. Looking at the headline on that landing page to make it convert better. And you'll automatically see that going from like a 10% conversion rate to a 20, 25% conversion rate, your cost per lead is going to go from $30 all the way down now to like 15, all the way down to $10. So always, it's a process and understanding where do you make a decision when it comes to your advertising. And often sometimes it's not even the ad itself. It's really just like other parts of the funnel that's having bottleneck, right? So things work amazing when the math is mathing, right? When my client says that, she loves when the math is mathing, because we ran into so many times before, and she's like smiles. She's like, "Wow, 2%, like it happens," and loves when the math is mathing. So I took that terminology. It's just so simple. I like it. So again, follow this process to create a repeatable launch that you can scale to 6 figures and beyond. Help your business to grow to 7 figures and more. But more importantly, it's not even about the money; it's about the impact that you want to make in your coaching business. The money is great to have, and I love it, and it allows me to live my purpose. It allows me to do my greatest good in the world. And I believe that for most coaches it does the same thing too as well, because we're focusing on the messaging angles. How do we actually communicate and help our new leads with our free training, with our program, and of course, we get income along the way. So it's a great process. So one of my cousins, Larry, says, Arcon empowered me to feel confident in the Facebook ads process while also providing me with information that was above and beyond my expectations. It was truly a fabulous experience. When I work with clients, we don't only just help them to run their ads, but we work in a few different capacity with our clients to help them to either just learn this process. So like just to get educated first before spending tens of thousands of dollars in the ads. So it's something that depending on where you are in your business, my team and I can help you to really help to start introducing advertising so you can do it correctly and you can start getting results. One of our clients, Sarah, she grew her email list by 2,528 leads, quadrupled cold sales, and lowered cost per lead. And it's one of those things where we could see here a 20.49x return on ad spend, had about 70 link clicks. And it was one of those things where it was just she had a really great offer, and there were some adjustments that was needed to capture leads in a better way, to be able to convert sales in a better way. Because once we speak the language of our client, once we know what their pains and their fears and their challenges are, and we communicate that with them, we're able to convert better and able to get a lot more sales along the way. And like I mentioned, 20x was great on paper. At the same time, it was it was profitable. She generated a lot of different sales. But we focus on the impact versus the actual return aspect, things like that. So what I want to invite you today to do is to book a free 30-minute scale your ads consult call with me. And I would like I have nothing to sell you on this training. This is totally just to share some information with you, show you how ads work, and also dive deep into the actual advertising process of how to become a marketer. How do you market your business effectively, especially when it comes to advertising? A lot of you may be again, running the game organically, pushing things organically to where you're doing masterclass challenge launches and you're running it organically. So you understand how to do this organically and really looking to now step it up and scale it up and level it up with getting more leads in there. So on this call, I want to basically discuss the advertising strategy for your business. Like I mentioned, the process here works, just lead generation to an event, which typically you're already doing organically. And so lead generation to that same event, you're already opening up cart, so retargeting our leads. So what's gonna be the advertising strategy for your business? So how do we position you and to be able to get results? Run the math on what you need to spend per ad. So I'll pull up the sales calculator. We can look at your numbers. We can look at your program price. We can look at your cost per lead if you've been running ads. If you haven't been running ads, that's something where we could talk about the process to get there, to start running ads, and even what numbers will look like. Where will be a comfortable level for you to start investing into your business, into the marketing of your business. So like what exactly do you need to spend on ads? So we could take some time to look at that. And then what it would look like for me and my team to support you with lead generation, whether that's working as a consult level where we help you to do it yourself, completely do it alongside you, where you're running your ads, you're in control of it, but you still have the expert eyes, that second pair of eyes to help you to make good decisions, avoid mistakes and get results for your lead generation. And this is totally free. So a 30-minute call is totally free. So book your free call. Spots are limited. So just go to effortlessly.com/start, and that will take you right to my calendar to book that call. You choose your date and time. There's a short form to fill out. I want to make sure that I can serve you when you fill out that form. So it's important for me to know, get some information beforehand. And again, like I said, we want to be in a position where you can start going into ads. If you're just getting started in the coaching business, ads is not the right time right now. You may need to figure some things out along the way. But nonetheless, effortlessly.com/start, and we'll be able to help you out there. Some questions that I often get, especially since like iOS has changed. You hear like Facebook ad costs have gone up. And I hear that every year. Facebook ads costs are going up. They're going up. They're going, well, yeah, everything's going up, right? So it's one of those things where like, are Facebook ads still working now? The answer is yes. Facebook ads still are working now. And we have to understand again, what are Facebook ads? Facebook ads is an opportunity for us to connect and reach our ideal client. Advertising works when we're able to speak our ideal client's language. We're able to offer them a solution and be able to connect with them and able to stand out as a person that has authority in the space. So ads work. They do work. I've generated every single month we generate thousands of leads for our clients, and I can see it working. And I can tell you when ads don't work, and I can tell you when ads work really well. And it has a lot to do with the messaging and the offer. And that's what it comes down to. And understand that I'm gonna have to experiment with different messaging. I have to experiment with different offers. You may hit the nail on the head with one webinar and you get a great conversion rate. You may do the webinar or the challenge or masterclass, whatever it is, and it doesn't convert as much, and we have to do that debrief to go into find out why, like what happened, what adjustments can we make, what tweaks can we make. Experiment mentality, approach it. You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and we have to approach our business like that, taking some of the feelings out of what we did, and really focus on just analytically like what happened in our business and how can we get better results based off of what we've observed on the stats, our click-through rate, our landing page conversion rate, our email open rates, or click rates, all the different things. How many people showed up to the actual live training? How many people converted? If you have 20 people show up and no one purchased, there's a disconnect there somewhere, right? We didn't communicate the offer in a really great way. 20 people is a lot of people. That's a lot of people, and it's possible on a webinar to convert 5, 10 of those people into your program. As a matter of fact, it's statistically expected that you will convert about 5 or 10 people if 20 people show up to a webinar. So I'm sorry, 5 or 10 people if 20 people show up on a webinar. So it's one of those things where we want to look and see, because Facebook ads work. We know this, like the ad platform, we can reach our ideal clients, the fastest way to reach our ideal client, but we want to be able to know what are the things that potentially prevent us from getting the conversion rate we need and want. And if we do get it, like, great, it's working, let's keep doing it. So number 2, I've worked with agency before and got bad results. Why would I do this again? Folks, I'm not ever offering anyone to work with me. I have to talk to you before it even comes up to me, and then we also want to talk about what would it actually look like to work with you. That's one thing differently I do in my agency versus others. I see others that just have a cookie cutter plan where it's like you can work with us this way or that way, and then that's it. So I like to work with our clients that's going to be best for them, whether that's working side by side to go through a launch where they're totally in control of the ads, but they have some extra pair of eyes before we even come in and we totally take it over, right? Because when there's testing involved, and you want to know, you want to have a finger on the pulse of what's happening. Because when you're running your ads yourself, you're able to see if an ad copy is working, ad copy is not working, and make a decision, right? When someone else is running it for you, not, I mean, I do that for my clients, but sometimes agencies they don't. They just set up the ads and let it run, and then that's it. So why would you do this again? Is because as a business owner, you look at your business with a mentality, with a business-minded mentality, meaning that we look at it from an organization chart, right? So we have our marketing department, we have our HR department, things like that, and we want to make decisions for our business that's going to allow us to grow. If you work with agency and you got bad results, why were the results bad? Well, what really happened? Did it convert? Did you get leads? Did people show up to the webinar, but it didn't convert? And we don't put that like is it the agency, right? We say like, oh, it's the agency that got me these leads and the leads didn't convert. Or can we debrief and say, hey, I had 100 people show up to my webinar and no one purchased. Whoa, wait a minute. What happened? What's going on? What happened on my webinar? What happened on my masterclass that 100 people showed and no one purchased, right? So the reason why we do things again, the reason why we don't give up on advertising is again experimentality. I know that in order to grow a business from um, 0 to 100K, there are certain things we need to do organically, typically, right? To go from 100K to 200K, there's additional things that we need to do from a messaging standpoint organically. And to really get to 500K, to get this to seven figures, there's a need for introducing advertising because there's really only so much you can do organically before you tap a glass ceiling. And every business is different. Like there's businesses that organically can hit 1, 2, 3 million, but in order to get to 10 million, they need to introduce advertising. They need to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google, YouTube, all different advertising platform, LinkedIn, whichever it's going to be. So there's really a need often that if you've done something before and you didn't get the results you want, to try to shed that energy, that negative energy from that experience, and look at things analytically and also positively with optimism to say that this does work, and how can you make it work, and what were the things you didn't like from the previous experience that you want to have in this next experience, and really understand your terms and work with someone that can help you to that can work with you on your terms too as well. Because like I have some clients where they we don't even meet. It's really just we send a report, we get really awesome results, and that's it. That's all they want. They don't even want to. They don't be bogged down by meetings. They don't be bogged down by these things. And some other ones they want to meet every week. They're thinking about it constantly. They're trying to figure things out. They're at a level where they want to really scale up to a certain level, and they need that constant support, and we're able to structure something to where we can meet with them, right? Or if that's you, we're able to structure something where we can work with you. So if that's you, visit the website, ourfunnyselling.com/start. Let's schedule a call and see if you want a team to just get you better results in your for your advertising. If you want to just strategize, if you need someone that can work alongside you, let me support you with that. Question 3, do you only focus on Facebook ads? That's primarily the area we focus on. Like I mentioned, there's 2.9 billion people on Facebook. And one of the amazing thing is that you have the opportunity for what I would say is a reasonable cost to reach these people. So we focus heavily on Facebook ads as for a coach or consultant. This is the primary place we want to go to. Start making Facebook ads work. When you're able to scale up your ads budget, you can effectively spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per day on Facebook, depending on your offer, depending on your niche. So when you make it work, and there's a certain point now where it's like, okay, you're ready to expand into, and when I say Facebook, I do mean Facebook and Instagram, not just Facebook. So Facebook and Instagram ads. So you're able to expand into Google, which my team and I can help with, YouTube, right? So we want to basically establish the messaging angle the graphics, the copy, the video, things like that. That's going to attract our leads on Facebook, get great results, and then start using that income we're earning from there to reinvest into additional ad platforms. But there's a way you can grow on Facebook so much that often I rarely come across anyone that's like if you're spending 10K on ads, I do not recommend spending 10K and then spreading it all over, right? Because you can be able to see great results on the Facebook platform before you spread it off. You want to do a test and see like, hey, what's 2K going to give me on TikTok? What's 2K going to give me on Facebook? You can do that. But when it comes to pure ROI, I see it often where if you focus on an area where you get quality leads, you can get a better ROI. And then from that ROI, you can reinvest into now testing a different platform to get an ROI on that platform. But trying to test all of them all at once um, is a recipe that can be disastrous. I know we use a term like "don't put your eggs all in one basket," and that applies to the stock market. That's not necessarily applying to advertising platforms. So I hear that often. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Well, that's kind of for stocks and diversifying investments. When it comes to those things, when it comes to advertising, like you can really go into Facebook. And then, like I mentioned, you get to a point where you have the income and you know you're spending comfortably 15, 20K on Facebook, and you want to do another 5K into a different platform to test out. That's by all means, like let's do it. Let's make it happen. But let's get really awesome results on Facebook. Because that's what I can help with for sure. Next thing is, will you also teach launch strategies? Depending on how we're working together, it's like some of our clients that come to me, like again, they typically have been doing things organically. They know they have an idea what's working for them, and they just want to scale things up. And we're looking for a specific launch, like ad strategy for the launches. I will teach those. I will show you those. Others who are looking to develop a launch strategy, like it's just like, hey, I don't have a launch strategy right now. I just kind of work one-on-one with clients, and I don't really launch. And I'm looking to launch because I want to do one to many versus one to one, because one to many is where you're going to scale into these higher, you'll be able to get 200K, 500K in one shot. And we can talk about those strategies for sure. When in a working capacity, we can consult on that too as well. And lastly, is it too late to start using Facebook ads successfully? Nah, it's never too late. Like it's one of those things where I got this question very, very recently, and it was like, just it's comparisonitis to where we compare to other people who've been in the game for 5, 10 years, have been advertising for a while, and they got all figured out, and it feels like they just dominate the marketplace. I can guarantee you that you can also go in there and your cost to advertise would be like the same as theirs. You just don't know it because it's just like you're so far away from like the whole thing, and just kind of like it feels like it's so far away, but it's not too late to start. And I even have those examples of clients I work with where we've been advertising for them for 2, 3 years, and other people come along, and the results in their ad account, while it's not the same budget, is a similar result. The cost per lead is the same, the click-through rates are the same, the cost per impressions are the same, and they're getting really great results, even though they just started advertising this year versus that person's been advertising for 3, 4 years now. And the difference is that one person's spending a lot more because they have more things tested and they're more comfortably able to spend that money in there, versus like you're starting off and you want, like I showed in the math example, being able to start off in a way. And I would love to even talk to you about that. So you can book that call, pointsin.com/start, and we can consult with that as far as like what's that timeline looking like really looking at like your launch plan, your advertising plan, not just for one launch, but looking at it for the next 6 to 12 months, where you're doing it's multiple launches, but they're spread out over 6 months, and then looking to see like, okay, how do we compound that? If I can go into this spending 2K, based on those results, we can replan that second launch, things like that. But looking at it further out, like looking at the long game, like what's the long game in this versus the short game. So without saying any more, visit offersane.com and let's book that free 30-minute scale your ads consult call with me. We'll be able to discuss your advertising strategy for your business, make it totally customizable. Regardless of the time frame will be the same, but really looking at your business and what would make most sense for you the launch event that you're using, whether it's a masterclass, webinar, workshop, challenge, and really strategically what's the best way to maximize the use of your ad spend you're looking at. Even if you want to have an understanding of like, well, how much should you be spending, or how much do you need to spend in order to see a significant enough return, to get that 2%. Like you want to get enough leads, right? Like, yeah, you could always run ads and spend $100, $200, $300, but what do you need to spend in order to see a tangible result? And I can guarantee you it's really not often $200, $300. There's very, very few people I've ever come across is like, oh, I spent $200 and I got this huge amount of money and I can put it back in my ads. It's very, very, very like the 0.0001% who are able to do something like that. And typically they already have a big network and it's probably running just retargeting ads and they get a really high return ad spend because they're just retargeting their hot audience. So, but when it comes to starting it from cold turkey going into potentially a new ad account or like scaling it up, we want to see what that looks like again over the long term. And of course, like if it will look like for me and my team to support you with that, whether we just talk about it one time and maybe put a plan that you may need to look into ads 3, 6, 7 months in the future when things are more when you have a stronger foundation, or if you're ready right now to start leveraging ads, we can definitely talk about that. And I'd love to be a guide and be a support for you and helping you to make a decision on what that would look like for you and your business. So again, my name is Arfan. Thank you so much for joining this or watching this training on maximizing lead generation. And I look forward to speaking with you if you do book that call, arfanhussein.com/start. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.